Hey, this is Stephanie.
And I'm Nina.
And you're listening to Live by the Spirit podcast.
Hello.
Happy 2024.
Steph is getting like emotional right now. She's like, this is the last time. Because we're recording this before New Year's Day. And she's like, this is the last time we're recording in 2023.
It's so sad. This year went by so fast.
It really did, which is wild to me.
Yeah, we were talking about this the other night, but with a friend of ours, but it's crazy to me. This has been a very challenging year, but this has also been such a great year, and I got really, really emotional the other night. I just heard the Lord encourage me to go. Well, it's okay. Back up a little bit. I was encouraged. I forgot even what the verse was, but I'd opened my Bible and was encouraged to go to this one verse. And then later on in the night, I heard the Lord say, go back and read what your dad wrote for you on your birthday. My birthday's in January. So I went back in, and the very first verse that my dad quoted was the first verse that I read in the night. But anyways, my dad was just prophesying a lot of stuff over me, and it was so cool seeing a lot of stuff actually come true, and just remember where I was in January of this past year, because now it's 2024 when you guys are listening to this. But
it's so wild to think that like it's already been a year.
I know.
Like, I remember, I don't know, I feel like it was just yesterday. I remember us doing stuff. I think the first memory, minus like New Year's, that I have of 2023 is it was a Wednesday night after Outpour. So we have like a monthly worship service at church. It was the first Outpour of the year. So it was like January 4th. I had just gotten back from flying in from New York, and after Outpour, we went to Jude's house, and we were there talking until 1:30 in the morning. You look like you don't even remember this, but we talked about that night about how we wanted to be more intentional in our friendships this year, and how you maybe remember that.
Okay, well, I was unemployed around that time, so it makes sense that I was out that late. But, the idea of being out till 1 a.m. right now is, like...
Yeah, we were literally there, and I had to go to work the next day, and we were just talking about, like, how we wanted to be really intentional in our friendships because we were all feeling this kind of disconnect after the holidays. And I remember thinking then, like, I don't even really know these people super, super well. And now looking at that, a year later, going, wow, look at the intentional friendships I have today with those people.
Yeah. Well, we also went through some stuff, like literally a month or two later in that friend group.
Yeah.
That was horrible, but also brought the people that stayed really closer together. So
yeah,
that's crazy too.
Just wild.
But anyways, we decided that we originally were going to do our goals for this coming year, but just like anything with the Lord is we need to show our thanksgiving first.
Mm-hmm.
We need to thank God for everything that he's done for us this year, and then also thank God for the things that he's going to be doing for us this year in 2024 before they even happen. And I think it's awesome to set goals and I hate calling them resolutions. I like to think of them as goals.
I don't believe in New Year's resolutions.
Yes, I think that sometimes they're unattainable. I think it's okay to have a goal, but anyways,
in my opinion, when it comes to resolutions, and sorry, I just interrupted you a second.
That's okay.
There, I think that if there is something that the Lord is calling you to do or calling you to change out of your life, you don't need to wait to do it. You should just do it. And so that's why, like, for me, when it's like New Year's resolutions, now it's time for me to change what I'm doing. It's like, no, if you feel like you need to be changing something you're doing, you don't need to wait for a day or New Year to do it. You should do it.
Yeah.
But I think it's good that, like, reflecting on the last year, it's like, okay, what can I do differently this year to, ensure that I'm truly doing what the Lord's calling me to do? I think there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, if I'm being completely honest, I'm not looking forward to going to the gym this month. because it's gonna be a nightmare with
so many people at the gym.
Well, so one of our dear friends just got married, who's like my workout buddy, because your girl needs accountability, or she does not like going to the gym. And so I have to go with somebody, or it's just not, I like will do like the bare minimum and leave, or I just won't even go. But for her, it's easier to do it right after work because her now husband will be wrapping up work around that time. And so the time that we go is around 5:30, and it is already so packed. I can't even imagine January. And so I just had a conversation with my dad about this. I was like, Dad, I'm not looking forward to the gym this coming month. And he was like, you know what? It's going to be crazy for the month of January. And then all those people, and then all those people are going to decide not to do it anymore. And then it'll be back to being
very true.
Slow pace, but yeah. So
yeah, my mom was like, when it comes to January, we should 2 times a week, like FaceTime and both go, walk on the treadmill to make sure we're, keeping each other accountable for that. I was like, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good. I highly doubt the gym at my apartment complex is going to be, I mean, it might be for a little bit, but probably not when I would be going, because I'll be going in the middle of still people's work days because I get out of work at like 2:30.
Yeah. That's the thing. If I do go to the gym by myself, I like go at 10 a.m. because I work from home. So I'll like set office hours. I'll be like, I'm going to go to the gym at 10 a.m. That way I don't have to run into anybody.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Yeah, we wanted to share a little bit about, I know Steph has 5 things that the Lord has blessed us with this past year. So looking over on the last year, we wanted to give a little shout out to our Lord and Savior above for the things that he's done for us this last year. So Steph, if you wanted to kick us off with your number 1.
Man, the first thing, which was the biggest thing, I got a job. I started off the year unemployed. I finished out 2022 unemployed, started 2023 unemployed, and this truly just shows how good God is to the very end. But I had to let my apartment complex know on a Wednesday if I was staying or if I was moving out. I got the job that Tuesday.
It was on Valentine's Day.
Is on like, what a way to have a Valentine's Day. Mm-hmm. And while I was only at that company for 2 months before I'm at the place that I'm at now, the Lord provided a need for me in that moment. And I remember maybe a week or 2 before that, praying to God. I'm like, Lord, I know the perfect job you have planned for me is out there, but Lord, I need something right now that will let me stay at my apartment complex, that will, just help me survive. So Lord, I don't want to go back to retail. So can you fill this need first? And then we can focus on finding the perfect job. And he did that. So that was my biggest thing. And it was really cool seeing the fruit of everything, because we've talked about it, but I got let go from a job in October of 2022 and just remained faithful with God and found joy during that really difficult season of being unemployed. A lot of uncertainty. I mean, there were definitely days where I struggled, and I have a very vivid image of us being at our young adult group leaders' home, sobbing my eyes out, thinking that, like, why hasn't God provided this for me yet? I don't understand. Like, just like honestly feeling so, like, I hate using the word giving up, but just so, like, at that moment I'm like, I know God's gonna provide, but just
it doesn't feel like it right now.
It doesn't feel like it right now. It's just, I'm struggling so hard. But then it's like, it's the moment, it's like having the breakdown and then literally the next week having the job. So
yeah.
So yes, that was my first thing. I'm very happy that not only did I get a job at the perfect timing, but then he provided the perfect job for me later on.
Mm-hmm. I would probably have to say the number 1 thing is I found a love for my job. And I don't know if I've really talked about this on the podcast before. I've talked about it with, my friends, my coworkers. I finished out 2022 because last year was my first year working as a special education teacher, and I really struggled with really not liking my job at all the first part of the year. So from like August to December, I like dreaded going to work every morning. I remember I would be hanging out with our friends until like 1 a.m. and going to work the next day because I really just truly didn't care. And I remember at the end of 2022 just praying, like, I was like, God, I need to love this. And I remember sitting down, and I actually have a video. It's like an 11-minute long video recorded on my phone, and I found it the other night, where I had literally sat down right after Thanksgiving and I said, I don't have to work. I don't need to look at it like that. I need to look at it as I get to work. Because it was also during the time where you're going through a time where you didn't have a job. So it's like, who am I to sit here and complain about something that I've been blessed with when my friend can't even find a job right now to, fill her need to live here? And so I had to look at it from a different perspective, and I prayed for a different perspective. And then I just found this new love and joy in going to work and helping those kids. And I truly love it now, but like at the time I remember not really enjoying it at all, and then I found that as the year went on.
Yeah, I remember around that time I think we had gone together. It might have honestly been the night you were talking about that we're at our friend's house till 1 a.m. But I remember one of the guys talking about how much he hated his job and how he was hoping for a new job. And they're like, okay, Stephanie, what are you hoping for 2023? I was like, I'm hoping to have a job.
I remember that.
And I remember the look on this guy's face, and he instantly realized, wow. And he apologized to me. And I was like, here's the thing. You don't like your job. Your job is causing a lot out of you. You need to find a new job. So it's like, I don't want to like make that slap in your face. But yes, you have an income right now. That's awesome. But like, that doesn't mean that your feelings aren't validated. But
be thankful for that.
But I kind of just was like, just be thankful that you have something right now that the Lord, is usually in that. Alrighty. My number 2 is I put grew closer in my relationships. Number 1, obviously God, but I also consider like my friendships this year. Like we kind of talked about, we had some things happen at the beginning of the year with our friend group. Like we're all okay, but it kind of just made the ones that stayed around, it made us all cling really close together. And we went through a season at the beginning of the year into the summer where we just were always with each other. And I truly feel like I have the tightest group of friends, the best group of friends I've ever had in my entire life. And I'm sure Nina can attest to that too. But like we have the best group of girls. There's like 5 of us that just like, we're not problematic. We don't have drama. If we do, we talk it out. We're always there for each other. I've been able to open up with these girls and share like the most embarrassing / hardest things in my life, and them receive it with no judgment and love me and praise and realizations and help me. And it's just like, wow. And I told this to people, but back in May, we were hanging out playing like fishbowl or something. I don't remember. We like playing games in our friend group, even though we're super competitive, to a fault sometimes. But it's caused some issues.
Hey, we're working on it.
But hey, I was about, I just thought it was like, wow, the enemy tried to pull us all together, tried to pull us all away from each other, figured out he couldn't do that. So the times that he tries his best
when we're having fun.
It's when we're trying to play games because we all get so competitive. No, but we were playing some games back in, I think it was May. And I heard the Lord say, this is an answered prayer. And I'm like, and I was like, yeah, I mean, this is an awesome group of people. Like, I'm really happy that I have this. And he's like, no, this was an answered prayer that you prayed when you were 16 years old. And I almost got transported back to being 16 years old, going through the first season of my life where I was dealing with anxiety and depression. I was getting bullied. I felt so utterly alone. And I just remembered this. I had totally forgotten about it, but I just like was on my hands and knees praying to God. Even though I was so mad at God, I was like, Lord, please bring me friends that care about me, that love me, that will put me like, put me, I shouldn't say number 1, because obviously God's number 1, but just like put my needs sometimes above theirs if I need it. And I realized that was an answered. It took almost 10 years, but the Lord provided that answered prayer. And I just thought that was such a beautiful realization, because I almost forgot. And so, yeah, just that's something that I'm so thankful for, that he's, not only have I grown closer with him, I've grown so close with God this year, but just even just with our friendships. Like truly, I told this to our friend Georgie on Sunday night. Like, we're family. It's like weird to even say that we're friends. Like, we are family. Families fight. Families have hard times, but at the end of the day, we love each other. And yeah.
I can also, that was also going to be my number 2 as well. Just definitely the relationships this year. Obviously with God and obviously with the friend group that I'm in. I think that, and I've talked about this a little bit, but because of how hard it was when I first moved and not really knowing you guys a super lot at the end of last year. Well, now I have to say 2022 because technically when you're listening, that's
everything.
I'm a little
had to be
confused.
careful about that too.
But not really, like, just kind of getting acquainted with all of you guys at the end of 2022. So moving into this year, like you said, and I didn't deal with the struggles in the friend group as much because a lot of the struggles that people went through are people who have known each other longer. So I was just kind of coming in after all of that. But still feeling the effects of that of the people around me, because obviously it might not have hit me, but it hit the people around me that I'm close with. So really feeling the effects of that from an outsider's perspective, but also just knowing that this is what I prayed for as well. And I remember my mom saying this to me at one point, and I don't really remember when, if it was a text message, I was trying to look real quick, or if she had written me a letter or she just said it to me, but she was saying to me that she had always prayed for really godly friends for me. And, like you praying when you were 16 and my mom praying that for me, it's like, look at that answered prayer of like, all of us go to church together. We all serve together. We all get into deep conversations about the word and what the Lord is teaching us, and we're still able to have fun. And I feel like people think that Christian friend groups aren't fun. We are a lot of fun.
We are so much
fun. I
fun.
think we're a lot of fun, but I think definitely this year, this past year, so 2023, really seeing the fruit of the prayers that, you've prayed at one point. My mom has prayed for me. I've prayed, and, just seeing just the relationships that we've all built together. And then obviously all of you guys pushing me and, all of us pushing each other to have a better relationship with God. And I think that we've all attained that this year. I truly see it in all of the ways that we love each other, in the ways that we serve others, and just in the way that, we point everybody back to God. I really see that fruit in our group.
Yeah, I think I just heard the Lord say 2023 was a stepping stone for us for basically the rest of our lives. Because these are, if we let it, these will be the people that we have surrounding us for the rest of our lives. So I think that's just really cool that we can look back at 2023 as being the year where that really consolidated and really found foundation. Because even though we had been friends at least for me, I'd been friends with these people for 3 years, it's still this year is what brought us all close together. Alrighty, my third one is I got a new car. Your girl got a new car finally. I'd been driving the same Hyundai Veracruz 2011 since I was 16, 17 years old. And she got, that Betty Boo, she got me through high school. She got me through college, back and forth from Illinois to Tennessee. She took a trip to Walt Disney World at one point. That girl got around, and she showed me so much love, but her life was coming to an end. And it was a really stressful couple weeks because I had just gotten a new job, and we were going on this trip, and I didn't have a car, and it was, not sure what was going to happen, and the Lord provided. So I'm very happy. I'm in debt though, which sucks, but you know what? The Lord has a job for me that I'm able to pay off my debts. So it's great. And my new car, if you guys are wondering, his name is Conrad,
which is really funny.
So yeah. Conrad Fisher, the Chevrolet.
I would say probably number 3 is my brother moving to Tennessee.
Jones.
I will say that, I don't know, it didn't go as I thought, and there have been some bumps in the road since he's been here, but that's as to be expected. But I think that, on my birthday, he had said to me, he goes, I don't think you understand the amount of doors that you have opened for me. And, being the younger sister, I often feel like, they go before me, so they're opening doors for me. But hearing that from his perspective of he wouldn't be here if it wasn't for me. And then reading a letter that he had written to me as well for my birthday, and just him confirming that, you know, if it wasn't for me, he wouldn't be here, and that would have caused him to, you know, not know these people and not be in the season that he's in now. And I think it's, I don't know, it was just a super big blessing to have him here, because as much as I may have opened that door for him, I really needed somebody here, and I really needed family, because obviously I do have family in my friendships, but I needed that physical family to be here, because it was really hard. I remember like Easter, I was like, I just need to go home. Like, I need to go home. And I left and I went home for Easter, but it was nice to have him here, because now it doesn't feel like I'm so disconnected from my family.
Yeah, it's been interesting for me having your brother here, because like he knew college me.
Yeah.
And not, I don't know why the first like phrase that popped into my head was like Bible thumping.
What?
But like what I mean is just like he doesn't know
He didn't know like
this like God
actually following God,
focused
Stephanie.
God number one. Well,
Yeah.
I would say more so God number one, Stephanie, because God's always been in my life. I've always loved God, and I know we'd had conversations in the past about loving God and how we grew up and stuff, but it wasn't like I was living like every decision, every word was out of my mouth was, how can I glorify God? No, it was like, how can I glorify Stephanie in these moments?
Yeah.
And so we've had conversations recently about that. It's just how we've had to kind of get to relearn each other. And there's been times where it's been a little awkward, not gonna lie, but he's awesome, and it's kind of nice for me, because it's cool. It's so nice to have a friend. I mean, 7 years. We've been friends for 7 years, and it's a blessing to have him down here, because even though he's not my brother, it's still like having someone that has my back.
Yeah,
is nice. And yeah, it's so weird though. Like, I love him, but obviously you and I are way closer than him and I ever were, but we were doing something for his birthday, and I realized out of everyone in this room I've known him the longest, and not even by like a close proximity, but by like, such a long shot,
like minus me in the room. He had known Steph for 7 years, and then he had known everybody else like for like 6 months. Minus like Jude, probably, because he met Jude prior.
He met Jude,
and they were like kind of friends. But
they
like,
met Jude in February 2022.
Yeah, and then they hung out when he came down for like Labor Day and stuff last year. But it's like he didn't really know any of you guys that long, so it was super cool to see. Like, that's so interesting. I remember we played like a Who Knows Jonah Better game, and I was like, my money's on Steph that she's gonna win. But I put some stumper questions in there on purpose, because I knew that you would. I knew if I made it too easy, you'd win, but I didn't want you to win. Out of like,
I did bad.
No, and it wasn't that I didn't want you to win. I wanted to stump people with the questions, and I wanted to stump you because I knew you knew a lot.
Okay, sorry. We need to focus back on the episode. But Jonas told me for years that his middle name literally is just A, and I've believed him this entire time.
Okay, but when I tell you, like, we're not gonna say his actual middle name on here, but it was funny because about a week prior to this, I put a Kahoot together for his birthday. We all played. About a week prior to that, me and Josiah are having like this conversation, and I forget even what it was. And he goes, wait, Jonah's middle name is A, right? I was like,
yes.
Yeah, it's like totally A. And he like totally believed me. And only 3 people got the actual name correct. And I know Josiah was not one of them, because he straight up, and Josiah is like Jonah's best friend. So like down here. Yeah. And so it's so funny. And we were dying. He was shocked.
I was the only one that got the actual best friend one right, which is Eames.
No, you weren't the only one. I think you were one of like 3, because most people guessed Josiah.
And I was like,
you, Jenna, and Josiah, I think all picked Eames. Okay.
I knew the important ones. Let's state that. But yeah,
I
love that we talked about this for like 5-10 minutes. Sorry,
we didn't. It was a minute.
Okay. Number 4, we'll try to go through these next 2 really fast.
Yeah.
Number 4, my new mindset, and honestly, this new mindset clicked within the last 2 months. So that's crazy. I made a TikTok/reel last night. Go check it out. But I was just like,
not last night.
Oh,
December 19th.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
To me, it was last night. Anyways, but I was just starting to cook my dinner, and my plans last night got canceled, and past me used to be like, wow, like no one wants to hang out with me, this sucks, I have to spend another night alone type of thing. But I got home and I was starting to cook myself dinner, and I was like going through like the rest of my night in my head. I was like, well, okay, I can prioritize my quiet time, because I wasn't really gonna have time to do that tonight, so I can have more quiet time with God. I can then watch a Christmas movie if I wanted to. I was like, if I want to, maybe I could film a TikTok or just something, because I've been really enjoying doing that lately, and just getting like the camera and everything set up. I could do a couple more things. Like I was just going through the list of things I could do in my head and finding joy in it, and it hit me. I was like, and the Lord like really like making me pause and be like, wow, this time last year would not have reacted this way. Would have been all boohoo me. And so while I was cutting up my chicken to cook, I was like, I'm just gonna quickly record this and like let God use me as a vessel. And I was really shocked at the amount of people that reach out to me. Like I got a lot of comments on TikTok. The video got a lot more likes on Instagram, but that's not the point of it. But just like hearing people say like, I want to get there, how did you get there? And just being like, let me tell you, it was not easy, and it's a recent thing. So, but my new mindset, just having freedom from really understanding what is an enemy-driven thought and be able to cast it out almost like it's second nature now. Like I don't even think about it. It just happens, and I'm, immediately go to the next thing. All right, what's your number 4?
I'm really grateful to have had the opportunity to travel as much as I have this year. I went home for New Year's, so I was home until the beginning of 2023. I went to Florida in March. I went to, where else did I go? I went to Florida again in July. I went to Vegas in July. I went to, where else did I go? I went home again in April. I went home again in November for Thanksgiving, and I'm going home again for
Didn't you go
Christmas.
home in June?
No.
Where were you in June? You went somewhere in June. I thought you did.
No, I just Jonah moved in June. I didn't go anywhere in June because I had friends coming to town in June.
Oh.
I had like 2 friends back to back who were in town. Then Jonah moved the week after, and then my parents were in town for 2 weeks. So I had basically somebody with me the entire month of June.
Yeah, I just remember I didn't see Nina all summer because she kept having friends come visit her.
And then I left.
And she left me.
Yeah, because then I went to Vegas, and then I came back, and literally I flew back in from Vegas, and 24 hours later we left for Florida. So it was wild, but I was really blessed with the finances to be able to do that, to be able to travel so much, and just the ability to go with so many different people. I was able to go home. I was able to go 2 different vacations with my friend Carly. I was able to travel with our friend group, which I know is your number 5 because I looked at your thing, which you're about to talk about it anyways. But I was able to travel technically alone too. So it's just been pretty cool to be able to travel with so many different people and travel so many different places this year.
Well, Nina ruined the surprise.
Oh my gosh, you're literally about to say it.
I was trying to think of like something I was super grateful that happened this year, and I put number 5. I put our beach trip. I think I hadn't been on a vacation in 2 years.
And it made it out of the group chat.
But I think also it was a short trip. I wish we would have gone, like we would have been there an extra 2 days. But I think it was just nice because it was around the time that we really all were getting so much closer as a friend group. And also we had like our friends Rod and Olivia we'd only known for a couple months, and they came with us. But I think it was truly just a time for us to really grow closer together, but also just go out and have fun. We had a very hard emotional few months before that, and I think it was just nice for us to be able to like be like, you know what, all of us deserves a vacation. All of us deserve some time to relax and be together. Like, let's go do this. And a good amount of us are like technically legally single. So it's, not like we are married and can go off with something with our spouse. So it was nice because if I think about it, like I'm sure here in the next couple years, all of us will be married with starting families, and it's going to be a lot harder to do things like that. So I'm truly blessed that we did it at least once. Who knows what this year will hold, but yeah, I really needed a vacation. So I'm very happy that it happened, and it happened with the right people. And and that what God did for us during that time. And also, I think this just shows who we are as a friend group. Every single person brought their physical Bible on that trip.
And it was cool that it worked out in a time where everybody was able to go.
Yeah.
Everybody was able to afford it. And we were all able to, we were able to, just like you said, sit down and dive into the word together, get into prayer together. Like, it was just so amazing. And we've talked about it. You guys can go back and listen to our episode we made back in July about our beach trip. But it was an amazing trip all around that we were able to take together and really, put God at the focus of that trip. Not, there was a lot of things that could have gone wrong, but thankfully the Lord was able to provide the right tools for us to be able to, actively, tackle those things head on and have an amazing trip.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. I would say probably my last one is just the amount of things that the Lord has revealed to me this past year. And I know we've talked about this a little bit when we talked about relationships, and my relationship with God is ultimately, it's got to be your number one relationship. But I think that it's been really cool to see the amount of things that he has, revealed in my life that I need to either change, or just blessings he's shown me, or, just things he's blessed me with. And I think the most recent one, obviously, as Steph said, counting everything as joy. And we did a whole episode on that because, that sermon really changed so much for us. And I know that, the mindset that Steph is in now, it wouldn't have happened had we not heard that at the right time. And so, like James 1:2 says, we need to count everything as joy. And I think, right after that, I went through a little bit where everything seemed to be such an attack. And I remember, telling, I don't remember who, I think it was probably both you and Jude, but I was just saying, it's so frustrating that we learn this lesson, and then seriously the enemy is like, here, count this as joy, and throws a new thing at me. And I'm like, this is just so ridiculous. Like, I'm so sick of this. But it's like, you really need to every day take time to pray, like, God, help me count everything as joy today. And if you don't take that time to do that, everything is so much harder. So it's just really starting your day off with truly praying to the Lord that you're able to do that every day.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, now we will go into our goals. We could probably fly through these a little bit faster because we won't
probably don't need to explain them.
Yeah. My number one, which will always be my number one goal in life, is just to grow even closer with God. Mm-hmm. It's crazy though to think that like what a year can do, but like where I am now here on December 20th, 2023 versus where I was on January 1st of this year with God is miles and miles different. I feel like I've ran a marathon. Like I'm a marathon closer to God than I was. And I think that's all from just really prioritizing my relationship with him, opening my Bible more often, even just surround the people that I surround myself with, even like the little things, just like the music I listen to and just like little things like that. So, but growing closer with God is my number one. It will always be my number one.
And that was my number one as well last year. And actually 4 weeks from when this episode comes out will be exactly 1 year since I got baptized, which is super funny because I was just talking with Josiah. Well, it was 3 days ago to me, but really like 2 weeks ago when you guys are listening to this. Josiah and I both got baptized on the same day at church, spontaneously. And we were just talking about it the other day, and I was like, can you believe that it's been like basically a year? He goes, that seems so crazy. Because then we looked at a picture that we took that day, and we physically look like completely different people, but we are 100% completely different people than, that day. And so I think that my goal still, and my word for 2023 was pursue, because I wanted to be in pursuit of my relationship with God at all times, my relationship with others, my relationship with my students, my coworkers, and that was my word. And I think that I feel like I did a good job with achieving that this year, but it's like I want to continue to pursue that relationship because I know that Christ is in pursuit of me.
Yeah. I also had my long hair still back then. It's crazy.
It's true.
My number 2 is have a husband. I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh. I thought you were so serious.
No, I would not. As much as I would love for that to happen, and I'm having hope because you need to have hope in things. But
My gosh.
that's all up to God. No, I'm kidding. I just thought that'd be funny. No, my number 2 is having some form of Bible time every day, even if that just includes reading the verse of the day that pops up on the Bible app. I think just really trying to make sure that I am in the Word at least once, because there are days where you feel like you're too busy, but something that the Lord's really spoken to me is like, wow, okay, yeah, I understand you physically were so busy. You had to be up super early and go and do this, and that. But then you had time to scroll on TikTok 5 minutes before you went on bed, or you had time to open Instagram while you're waiting for this appointment or something like that. It's like, okay, wow, if I have time to do that, then I should have time just to quickly open the Bible app and just be in scripture for a second. So that's my number 2 goal for this year.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in you always have time. And that also is my number 2 as well, because I think for a while, and I've been doing good at that, and then I won't do good at it, and it's like, and I like truly love the Word so much, and you know, you'll hear me talk about it on here time and time again, but and people make jokes at me. I feel like you guys are always like, you want to know something about scripture, ask Nina, because
well, that's a spiritual gift that you have.
I do really truly have the knowledge for that, and I don't want to sound like I'm being arrogant, but I feel like I do have a good grasp on a lot of things when it comes to scripture, but there's always more that you can know, and there's always more that the Lord is going to reveal to you. And I was just talking the other day with someone, and I was saying, you know, I could read the same passage over and over again for the rest of my life and continue to learn something different every single day, because the Word is truly alive and it's living. And, you know, I want to make sure that I am, you know, as knowledgeable as I can be every day of what the Lord is trying to tell me and how I can be helping others through that knowledge of scripture. And so I want to really be stepping into that spiritual gift that I have, and, you know, making sure that I'm able to, you know, learn as much as the Lord's trying to teach me through that.
Yeah. And then the rest of mine aren't very God-driven. I mean, I guess they can be, because God's in everything. But my number 3 is to be better about saving money. And part of that's hard because I have student loans and I have car payments, but just trying to be better about putting money aside. I didn't specifically put like, oh, I want to have this amount of money saved by the end of the year, because I think sometimes that can just be a little unattainable, but just trying to be better about putting money in my savings account.
Yeah. That's a really good point, because I'd also like to do that. My number 3 is to just be more active in general. All of my friends all go to the gym all together.
We're trying to get her to come.
I physically do not have the money to pay for a gym membership, but I am blessed to have a actually very nice gym at my apartment that is brand new, because my apartment complex is brand new. And so I have I pay for that in my rent, so it's 2 seconds away, and there's nobody ever in the gym either. And so just being better at making sure that I'm being active. You know, I'm active at work. I'm constantly running around, but like being active just every day, not even every day, just several times a week. And so just chilling.
My number 4 is go to bed earlier and wake up earlier, because I can't lie, I don't like being out late anymore. I feel like that's something I've kind of turned into, like, it's like, wow, I'm finally feeling like an adult. I don't like being out like past midnight anymore. But when I get home, I'll be like doing things until like 1 or 2 a.m. because I work from home, so I don't have to get up super early. But that's something that I really am striving to be better at, about trying to go to bed earlier to then, I would like to wake up an hour before I have to work, because right now I'll wake up right at 8 a.m. and I start my work day at right at 8 a.m. So it's like I don't give myself time to like really wake up and enjoy the morning before I have to set my mind on work stuff. It's immediately working. So would like to do better about that, and just also getting out of bed, because I, again, work from home, so it's easy for me just to stay in bed all day.
Hey, it says in Proverbs 31 that
I knew. Proverbs 31 woman.
It says that, you know, she wakes when it's still dark out. And that is also on my list. I have recently, since I've been back from Thanksgiving break, I have been really slacking on the waking up part. I have to be at work at 7. I'll wake up at 6:30, and then I will go to work. And it's like, I live, thankfully, like 4 minutes away from work, but it's like, that's still no excuse. You know, I want to be up in the morning. I want to be in the word in the morning. I want to, you know, have a cup of coffee or something. Like, I don't know, just sit down and be able to enjoy the morning, like you were saying. And I want to be able to do that. And so that is definitely my number 4.
And then my last one is just trying to prioritize cleaning.
That's a good one.
Because again, I'm home all the time. So you would think with your girl being home all the time that my apartment would be immaculate and always clean. And I feel like it's the complete opposite, is I'm home so often. So it's like, okay, yeah, I can do this in an hour, or I can do this. It's just constantly putting it off. The thing I really struggle with is I let my dishes pile up and I let my laundry pile up. So just being more trying to, whether or not I need to create a schedule for myself. It's like, okay, this room's going to get cleaned on this day or this day or this day. Just because I used to be like that in college, and we every day had a different room to clean, and our apartment was immaculate. It was so clean because, you know, we were cleaning every single day. So just trying to be more adamant about that. I think that's just something the Lord's been really encouraging me on, particularly, you know, wanting to be in that next season of life and having my husband finally find me and all this stuff. It's like, wow, okay. Almost like my last several goals were about me just kind of trying to prep more like I would if I was a wife, because if I was married, I would definitely be trying to keep my home a little bit more orderly, because obviously it wouldn't just be me. So I just need to start thinking that way. So yeah, that was my number 5 goal.
Yeah. I don't really know. I think that maybe, I don't know what about this one. I mean, I do. I just don't know if I want to speak it. But I think that one thing that I feel like has been placed on my heart for the last several months, and something that has been recently spoken to me that I should be stepping into, is just worship. And I had a conversation with a few friends recently about, you know, how can I be stepping into that? How can I be feeling a need, either in our church or just, you know, just personally? I don't know. And I don't know exactly what that's going to look like yet. But I think that I want to definitely step into whatever the Lord has planned for me when it comes to worship. And I know that's a door. When we talked about the year of the open door, I know that that's a door that God has been trying to get me to walk through, but I have been kind of disobedient when it comes to that, because I am so nervous about what that does look like. And it can become a comparison game for me, and it can become a, you know, where's my heart going to be at? And I want to make sure that my heart's in the right place, and I don't want to be comparing myself. But I think once I just step into it, I really think that the Lord will bless that. So whatever that does look like, but yeah, I think that's my number 5 goal.
Yeah, something that I just been really feeling lately is we never know when our last day of being single is going to be. Because one day we're not going to be single anymore. And it's like, while we are praying for that and hoping for that, and like I want that so desperately, it's like, wow, that can come sooner than I think. And so it's just like truly cherishing the time that I have being one-on-one with God. And I think it's 1 Corinthians, I don't remember the chapter, where it talks about like single men and then married man, and then a single woman and a married woman, how a single woman or her, you know, life is devoted to Christ, whereas a married woman, her life is devoted to Christ, but also is of the world, because she's having to devote herself to her husband. And obviously that's the only like worldly thing you should devote yourself to, is your spouse. So for me, it's like, wow, this is the only time in my life where it will just be me and God. I need to cherish it more often. And so I think by you doing that and just focusing on worship, it's just so, yeah. Yep. Right there. What's it?
It's 1 Corinthians
7. I was going to say 5 or 7. I couldn't remember, but
yes,
it's, that really kind of opened my eyes. So, and again, not saying that if you are married that you can't devote yourself to Christ, but it's like you are called in the Bible to also devote yourself to your spouse. So literally says that. So, but it's just different. So this is the only time that I get to keep God all to myself, because one day I have to share him with my spouse. So
it literally says, are you free from a wife? Do not seek a wife. So, I mean, And it is true, 'cause I mean, Paul talks about how he wishes we were all like him and single like him, because, you know, there is some things that you are able, if you're called to a life of singleness, there are, you know, that's because the Lord, you can do so much more for the kingdom single than you could together. But when you are searching for a spouse, you want to find somebody that can really, you know, you guys can both build each other up and push each other to do more for the kingdom together than you ever could alone. So it's like, while you are single, you need to make sure that what you are doing for the Lord, and you're stepping into what he's calling you to do. Because if you're not doing that now, you're not going to do that when you're in a relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, we hope that you guys are having a great start to your 2024. I have no idea what
this
we're
is day 1.
Oh gosh. I know I'm not working today. I'm probably sleeping. Hopefully we didn't hopefully we weren't out super late last night, or I guess this morning.
I have no idea. I guess we'll find out.
Oh Lord. Anyways, we hope you have a great start to your year, and
This
so
is the
sad.
last day with the jingle bells.
It's just so sad.
Back
This is
to
the
the
last time I'm
original
gonna say this.
Music.
Cue the jingle bells.
Peace and blessings.